Hello, this is Jim Smith at GAN Analysis LLC. My website, if you're interested, come visit, register, you get some free reports. Here's the website addressed www.gananalysis.net. And today I want to go over something I've showed before, but I want to update you on this a little bit. Because originally I published this on November 22nd, 2021, and at that time you'd be hard-pressed to find anybody who was bearish on the stock market. I was, but not very many people were. There's a lot of Johnny-come-latelys who are getting bearish now, but what you need to ask is, did they help you out by telling you that stocks are going down over here? Wouldn't it have been much more helpful to tell you over here to get out of harm's way? Now, how were we able to do that? Well, here it is. This is the scale we're using, 7.5 points per week. It gave you a low here, support here. You broke it, you got to sell off. Now you got resistance, you sold off. Resistance, sold off. And now when you got above it, notice you sold off, found support on it, bounced back, but you took it out here, and then you really started a correction. So that's interesting. That's one line. That's called a live angle. We know it's offering support, resistance, resistance, and support until it finally breaks. That was your clue that, hey, things were going bad, but you didn't have to wait until this point. How is it that we could tell you back here to get out of the market? Well, let's go forward a little bit. Let's analyze this. So this is the active line. You define the first GAN line. That's your 1 by 1. That's the scale you're going to use. Now, once you've done that, you can define a 2 by 1 line, which is twice the slope of the 1 by 1. Notice how after this sold off here, it rallied on the 2 by 1, and when you broke the 2 by 1, you got a big sell-off. So you see a pattern. The market rallies on the 1 by 1, sells off, then it rallies on a 2 by 1, sells off, and then after that, it rallies on a 4 by 1. We're just doubling the slope each time. So instead of 7.5, we suddenly jump to 15 points per week, a 2 by 1. And then when that breaks, we rally on a 4 by 1, which is 4 times the slope of the 1 by 1, 30 points per week. And when that breaks, then you rally on an 8 by 1, which is twice that slope. So 60 points per week. Now, what GAN said is this is all the geometry of time and price. So when you break the third or fourth ascending GAN line, according to GAN, you're going to start a correction. So you might have thought back here, okay, this is a correction, but then when you rallied to new highs, you started the 8 by 1, and once that broke, then you knew, okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4 ascending GAN lines. You knew you're starting a correction. So that's useful. That is very important information. Trust me, I put it out there only because I wanted to show a timestamp on November 22nd. I wanted people to see that I was making the call back here because I knew by the time you got down here that every chucklehead out there who calls himself an analyst is going to be claiming credit for it. They don't have the timestamp. All they do is have the ability to get on CNBC and claim credit for something they never did. I'm just saying back here, you knew that we're starting a correction. Now, maybe you probably had your doubts up here because it did rally a little bit, but, you know, we knew we had pretty solid confidence in this chart because this is a parabolic move up. You rally on a 1 by 1, then you double the slope, then you double it again, then you double it again. It's basically setting up a waterfall decline. We knew it was going to be 2022 was going to be a major correction. Now, we did not, this is not the only chart we use. I have hundreds of charts on the S&P. If you become a client, you'll see those charts. But there's a lot more that I can show you. Today, I just want to update this and show you something else. If you have a rally and you start a correction, you have the ability to make the supposition that one of these Gann lines will work on the way down. If they worked on the way up, they should also work on the way down. And sure enough, it says 45. Ignore that. This is actually a 2x1 line. It's twice the slope. It's just like this one here. Let me just show you so you'll see what I'm talking about. It's 15 points per week, which is the same as this on the way up. We're doing the same thing on the way down. Now, maybe it would have been possible to say, oh, why didn't you do a 1x1? Well, the market tells you what it wants to do. If it had gone a little higher, maybe it would have formed a lower high at the 1x1 down. But you could see right here when it hit 46.38, it was forming a lower high. My clients knew about this as it was happening. And then when you broke this 1x1, you knew that, hey, we're in real trouble. We're in real trouble because it formed support here, rallied back, found resistance on a 2x1, and then started the big move down. The question you might have in your mind now is, how far is it going to go down? When will it bottom? Good questions, very good questions. And that's why you want to become a client, because, I can't give everything away. I'm already giving away too much by showing you this, but I'm just telling you, this is something that you could have seen coming in late 2021. When you broke this 8x1 line, you knew 2022 would be a major correction. People are going to doubt this now, but if they have any interest, you can go look on LinkedIn, look on Twitter and YouTube. I posted this thing on November 22nd, 2021, and now I'm just updating it for you, showing you that the 2x1 down gave you the lower high, and trust me, there's some great charts I want to show you. This is not the most interesting chart. I have some incredible charts that will blow your mind. So if you're interested in following this stock market crash and finding out where it's going to bottom before it happens, that's why you want to subscribe. That's why you want to get busy. Think about how much money you're going to lose if you don't know when it's going to bottom, or how much money you're not going to make if you're not ready to pull the trigger and buy the low. How are you going to know? Well, you're not going to know by asking the talking heads on CNBC, because they were nowhere to be found over here. They were still shilling for the market and telling you to buy. Buy the dips every time it's sold off. Buy the dips. Now, are you going to trust those guys to tell you when to buy the low? I wouldn't. I would go with somebody who has a track record. Somebody who made this call might also make the call down the road when it forms a low. So that's the important thing. I have a methodology. W.D. Gann, without question, is the best charting methodology. And I've done Elliott Wave, I've done momentum indicators and all kinds of things, market profile. I've looked at all of them. Without a doubt, Gann is the best methodology. But, there are going to be all kinds of people who claim to be doing Gann, but they didn't make this call here. I put that out there for a reason. I wanted you to see that this stuff works. And I know you're skeptical because there's a lot of charlatans out there, but trust me, you want to know what's going to happen next. It's going to affect your portfolio in a big way. And If you want to know when it's likely to bottom, and you want to know what level at which it's likely to bottom, you got to follow it all the way along, because the market is always right. I'm not always right, but the market is always right. So what we try to do is, day to day, give you updates. Okay, it's responding to this scan line. It looks like this cycle's working, or this maybe it's not working. We update you. We let you know in real time that, hey, we got confirmation because we have a time and price set up. We know what's going on. And sometimes we don't know what's going on. Sometimes we say, well, we're going to have to wait for more evidence. If it takes out this support line, then we'll know with a little more clarity. So you get all that in the daily reports. You know exactly when to pull the trigger, when to get in, when to get out, and when, hey, maybe sometimes just sit in cash. It would not have been the worst decision in the world to put all your money in cash up here. Remember, whoever has money when you finally make the low, they're going to get some buying opportunities of a lifetime. But if you lost all your money on this way down, that's really not going to help you out. So it's important to call the high. It's also important to call the low. So that's what we're trying to do with my GAN service. So if this interests you, register to my website. You'll get a couple of free reports, and maybe think about subscribing. As the old saying goes, it beats a poke in the eye with a sharp stick. Now, if you do want to poke in the eye with a sharp stick, then just keep watching CNBC. That'll work for you.